Everybody, Dave Shirtless Chef here with another episode. Today we are going to be making birria tacos. These are going to be insanely delicious. So let me give you a rundown of the ingredients. Grab your scribble stick so you can write this down. We have some yellow onion, cilantro, radish. That's going to be for a topping. Some queso fresco, good cheese, a good corn tortilla, beef broth. Of course, we have our beef. This is London broil, not traditional, but it's the meat I had, so it's the meat I'm using. Some ground coriander, some ancho chili pepper, chili powder, Mexican oregano, cumin, some chipotles and adobo, diced tomatoes. Our dried chilies, we have guajillo, we have pasilla, and we have the California chili. Of course, our favorite squeezy garlic, because I'm lazy, limes, and some apple cider vinegar. I'm going to start processing some of this so you guys don't have to watch it all. And when we come back, we'll have some of this started and I'll show you the next step. All right, first thing we're going to do is process our peppers, our dried chilies. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the top off here. And then it's much easier to get all these seeds out. Maybe just take a pair of safety scissors from your kid. They don't need them. And most of those just dump right out. And let's give it a little cut. We are going to be grinding this all up later. So we'll just cut that, set it aside. So I'm do this for all the chilies. And in the meantime, I have a pot of 2 cups actually of beef broth starting to boil.
You might want to mention where we got all those.
I don't remember where we got all these. We got them from 3 different places. We got these chilies from what was it, El Trovador? It's a Mexican restaurant that has a little market next to it. And the guy charged me basically nothing for these. They're impossible to find everywhere else. That was for the guajillos. But sometimes these are readily available at the grocery store, depending on where you live. And they are not where we live. So, break these bad boys open. If you're sensitive to heat, these are fairly mild chilies, but if you're sensitive to heat, you might want to wear gloves when you do this, but I'm not, so I'm not. Alrighty. This is not that labor intensive. If you get some of these seeds that are just stubborn, don't want to come out, don't worry about it. It's all going to go in a big pot anyhow. These ones are a little tougher to cut, but we managed. All these seeds are going to be trash. Most of them are, they breed them to where you can't plant them anyway, so just go ahead and throw them in the trash. So what we're going to do with these is drop them in our beef broth, let this stuff get to a nice boil, and then wait for the magic to happen for these to rehydrate. All right, we'll see you in a minute. All right, so we're back. We have our chilies in the pot. Got the beef broth to a boil. Put all of our chilies in. Made sure that they're submerged, or we keep pressing them down every now and again. You're going to leave them to steep for about 15 minutes so that they can rehydrate. That's going to be for your sauce. In the meantime, while they're steeping, we're going to process this beef. Now this London broil I got on sale at the grocery store for I think $3 a pound, something like that. Crazy cheap. That's why I bought it, and that's why I'm using it today. So I'm just going to rough cut this. Doesn't matter how you cut it really, because when this comes out, it's going to be like a shredded beef. We're going to leave all this fat in. That's going to become flavor later. So now we got to cut. A little bit of salt and pepper. When I say a little bit, I mean a little bit more than a little bit. So salt and pepper, we're going to do that on both sides. Clean hand, dirty hand. cut all the way through. All right. Plenty of pain here. All right. So salt and pepper on both sides. We have our cast iron smoking hot right now. Let's show them a picture of that, baby. See, the smoke is literally pouring out of the cast iron. When you think your cast iron is hot enough, get it a little bit hotter. Okay, so cast iron smoking. We're gonna put a little avocado oil down. Avocado oil, hands are slippery. Avocado oil has a higher smoke point than most oils, so it's perfect for high heat. So a couple turns of that. And then we're going to put our beef in. Remember, do not overcrowd your pan. We want to get a nice sear on this meat, so we don't want the pan to cool down on us. So we're going to do this in batches. We're going to get a nice brown color on there, and then we're going to take it out. We're not cooking it in the pan, we're just searing it in the pan so we can get all that good flavor out of it. So I'm going to work in batches, get this browned up, show you what it looks like when it's brown, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Alright, so this is our first batch. I'm going to show you what color you're looking for when you turn it. It should look like that. That is gorgeous. Beautiful coloring on that meat. That's what you want your gourmet steaks to look like. Nice brown color. That comes from the kosher salt, the cast iron skillet, and the avocado oil. Alright, those three things make a perfect combination for the perfect crust on your meat. So we're going to brown all this meat all the way around, and then I'll show you how to make the sauce. This is how you know your pan's hot enough. Kitten. So a quick video of Kitten. Show him again. Came in here because he smelled meat. He's our little carnivore. But we gave him a little piece, but that's about it. So I turned the heat way down on the cast iron. It was crazy hot. You don't want to throw the next step in that away. So turned it way down. Put our onions in. We want to get these onions nice and brown. Look at that, already picking up all the good bits left behind from the beef. Actually going to add a little bit more avocado oil to this. Couple turns. When the onions are near done, I'm going to put in my favorite cheat, my squeezy garlic. You only want the garlic in for about 2 minutes because it will burn, and when garlic burns, this smells quite terrible. And then we are going to deglaze the pan. All this stuff is stuck to the bottom. We want that. That's all flavor. And we're going to do that with our buddy apple cider vinegar here. We're going to put a couple teaspoons of that in there. The steam from the apple cider vinegar will release all of those good bits from the bottom, and the vinegar will also add a nice bite to our meat. So we'll see you when the onions are near done and ready for the garlic. Alright, so our onions are definitely done. So we're going to add some garlic. That's about 2 cloves worth, 2.5. We're going to stir this in and give it, oh man, that smells fragrant already. Already smells garlic. So we actually picked up most of the little crunchy bits, the flavor bits on the bottom. I know what that's called, but I'm not going to say it. Look it up. We picked all that up already, but we're going to add, let me get my shadow out of the way. We have great lighting. Add a couple teaspoons of this apple cider vinegar to help release the rest of it. See, it's already working. Already picking up what's left over. So when this is done, when I get all the fond off of the bottom, I just learned that word. So I can act cool like I knew it forever, but I just learned what that stuff's called. So we're going to take all that off. Once that's all off, we're going to add our onions to our beef. If I had a Dutch oven, I would have done this whole process in the Dutch oven, but I don't, so I didn't. I'm going to transfer it, and we're going to get the same effect. Alright, so all of our stuff feels like it's come off the bottom. When you grab your cast iron pan, it is all one solid piece of metal. Do not grab that handle without a towel or a pothole. Oh, save that guy, get it out of the way. So we're going to add this in. Cast iron's heavy. Don't touch it at the top. Get all the lovely bits out. So I'm going to mix this around, and we're going to leave this sit on low heat. Not really necessary, but we're going to do that while we make our sauce. Our chilies, I'm going to grab this, follow me here. Our chilies have been steeping long enough, cooled down, they're good to go. So now we're going to make our sauce. You know, a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of pepper. My little pinch might be different than yours. We're going to do ground cumin. Alright? Talked about this before. These holes, okay, in the ground cumin are large enough, so it's not too bad. We're going to add, no, it is terrible. I hate stupid things. So, I'm going to add about a teaspoon and drop that guy in. If you don't know, cumin is what makes Mexican food taste like Mexican food. You can't have tacos without cumin. We have Mexican oregano. Do not think you can substitute regular oregano for Mexican oregano, because you can't. About another teaspoon. This smells totally different, way more fragrant, and way tastier. Ground ancho chili powder. Once again, another stupid thing on there. We're going to do about a half a teaspoon of that. Traditional recipe really doesn't call for it. And the California pepper, the dried California chile, is actually quite similar to, or the same as, the ancho chili. I don't know. Get rid of that ground coriander. We're going to add a little more ground coriander, and then we did to the rest, maybe a teaspoon and a half. Alright. So, to that, we're going to add one whole 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. And I need my spoon. Got my spoon. Now for the good stuff. Chipotles in adobo. We're going to find one whole pepper here. Alright, so we got one pepper. Add that. Find another whole pepper. 2 whole peppers. That's an exact measurement, in case you don't know.
What are chipotles?
Chipotles are, thank you for asking, by the way, babe. Chipotles are a jalapeno that has been smoked and then dehydrated, and then, in this case, rehydrated and added to adobo sauce. So now, since I don't have my food processor, I don't have my blender, excuse me, I don't have my beer either, I'm going to use an immersion blender. Immersion blender can be a lifesaver for making soups. Not making the soup, I'm making the sauce, but let's hope this turns out. So, that's the power button. Got to hold it in. But aside from the power button, we have turbo! The turbo button. That'll get your sauce mixed. Alright, so the important thing with the immersion blender, you want to make sure this thing is in the bottom before you kick it on. And we're going to hit the turbo. Blend all this up. I won't make you listen to all that. When we come back, this will be blended.
Also, tell them what kind of pot not to use that in.
Oh, do not use this in a non-stick pot. If it has a black surface, don't do it. You will chip all that shit out of there. Not good. Stainless steel only. Alright, see you in a minute. Alright, so this is our blended sauce. Nice and thick. And oh my god, is that flavorful. I can't even describe to you what these flavors are or how good this is. So we're going to pour this in right over top of our meat. I'm going to use the stovetop method for this, which is basically I'm going to bring this back up to a boil and then turn it down to simmer, and I'm going to leave it for 2.5 hours before I check on it. It'll probably be about 3 hours before it's done. So you want your sauce at the top of your beef level. So this guy is just going to sit here. All that meat, I am going to cover it though, put a lid on it. All that meat is going to become crazy fall apart tender, which you'll see later. If I had had a Dutch oven, which I don't, I would have done everything basically in one pot. I would have put the beef in, seared it, taken it out, then added the onions, garlic, and then poured the sauce in later. I would have done everything in here other than making the sauce. And then put that in the oven at 350 for around the same amount of time, about 3 hours, just leave it alone. But since I don't have a Dutch oven, I'm doing the stovetop method, like I said. Bring it up to a boil, then back down to a simmer, and just leave it alone. If you're OCD like me and you have to turn everything every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes, you got to constantly keep an eye on it, you're going to have problems with this dish. You need to leave it alone. Alright, so I'm going to let this set up. And when we come back, it'll probably be about 2 hours in or so, and I'm going to make some rice. We're going to do a little side dish with this. So we will see you then. Maybe. It's only an hour and 51 minutes until I can check it. Alright, as you can tell, I come back all clean shaven, head's all clean. It's been quite some time. So it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now this meat that I put in here is breaking apart just by touching it with a spoon. Here's Kitten, because he smells the meat. But just by touching it with a spoon, it breaks up. This is where you want your meat, folks. And get this all broken up. We're actually going to start some rice. And then, yeah, I think we're going to start some rice. And, oh, the corn. I'm going to make something that I just came up with on a whim, which is Mexican street corn off the cob. So I'm going to give this a try. If it sucks, I'm sorry. If it's great, you can thank me for it later. So I'm going to finish chopping this up, separating all this meat, and then we're going to get the rice started. All right, see you in a minute. Palate cleanser. All right, so I know I told you I was going to be making rice when I came back, but I had to give this a taste. I don't know why I didn't do it before, but I can't stop eating it. Oh, it's hot. The complexity of the flavors in here with the different chilies, the dried chilies, the chipotle, the garlic, like you taste everything in levels. This is phenomenal. I can never go back to eating regular tacos again. I'll use the same recipe for every cut of beef I want to do it with. Chicken thighs, lamb. This is my new taco recipe. It takes a lot of time, but it is so worth it. Anything worth doing is worth doing well, and that shit don't come easy sometimes. This is phenomenal. Alright, so the amazing beef is done. It doesn't have as much juice or grease as I wanted it to, but we're going to make do. So while that's becoming the best meat ever, we're going to make some rice for our side dish. So I'm doing 2 cups of rice. Typically I do a 1-to-1 ratio. This is jasmine rice, by the way. Typically I do a 1-to-1 cold water with rice. Okay, come on out. Alright, so 2 cups of rice. 2 cups of water. The wife here likes the rice a little wetter, so we're going to do about 2 1/3 cups of water instead of the 1-to-1 ratio. Now, I've made up this seasoning. And take a look at that. This is 3 teaspoons of chicken bouillon, a pinch of kosher salt, a pinch of black pepper, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. And that, oh, drop some. That's going right in there. So I'm going to close this guy up, turn it on, hit the white rice button, and let it do its magic as I clean up.
What is that?
The rice cooker?
I didn't know what that was when I first met you.
It's a rice cooker.
Okay.
All right. So, aside from that, I know you were thinking, Dave, you opened this can of Chipotles. What are we going to do with it? So, I only used 2 Chipotles out of the can. So what I did, I got this little mini ice cube tray. I cut the rest of them up, portioned them out into the individual ice cube trays, and then put the adobo and all that stuff in there. So I'm going to freeze this. Once it's frozen, I'm going to crack it up just like ice cubes and put it in a Ziploc bag. So now, if I need Chipotles in a recipe in the future, all I got to do is grab one of those little Chipotle ice cubes out, drop it into the dish, and we're good to go, and I don't have to waste all these Chipotles. Alright, so I'm going to put these in the freezer. We're going to let that go, and in a minute we're going to start working on that street corn. Alright, so we got the rice in, we got the beef done. Now we're going to start working on our street corn off the cob. Can of corn in the pot. Easy stuff. Alright, let that get a little hot. We're going to add a little bit of mayonnaise. That looks about right, about a 1/4 cup. So now we're going to use some sour cream. We use light sour cream, mostly because the texture is a little better. It's a little softer, but sour cream in the pot. All right, then we're going to use a tad of garlic. Like I said, I've never made this. I don't know how it's going to come out. All right. That was more than a tad. But we got some garlic. We're at a little bit of cumin. Not that much. Just a little bit more than maybe 1/2 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. So cumin's in. Now we're going to use Chipotle chili powder. I already threw the cap off so you guys didn't have to see me do that in a fit of rage. Another 1/2 teaspoon in the pot. Do a little salt, just a little sprinkle of salt. You can always add more later, we can't take it back out. Little pepper, and we're going to take a good bit of cilantro here. Put that cilantro in. Man, that looks gorgeous. Doesn't that look good? All right, so normally I would use cotija cheese for this, but on a whim we decided to try queso fresco for our tacos tonight. So I'm going to put some queso fresco in here. Already chopped it up. Queso fresco is an awesome, super mild cheese. It's really good for like making nachos. It's not going to stand up to your tacos, but you'll know you got cheese in it. And we're going to cook this up, let it go. I'm actually going to break my own rules and use a metal utensil and a non-stick pot. Give this a good mix.
I think you should use the meaty one. The wood one.
Nice mix here, and not putting that one in there. Because I want that meat spoon clean for the meat. Alright, so it's starting to look like what street corn looks like. It's actually a big old hot mess. But it's delicious. If you've never had street corn, you are doing yourself a severe disservice. Get you some street corn, or I'll let you know how this turns out. Try this street corn off the cob. Alright, next time we come back, I guess we'll be plating. Oh, we'll be getting the tacos ready. So I'm going to show you how to make these birria tacos. Birria. I've had too many beers to talk about birria tacos.
You never clarified.
Well, I don't know. So I'm making it. It's good. I'm going to make it. I'll show you how to make the tacos when we come back. Alright, so rice just went ding. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a half lime. We're against the hand, squeeze it, get all that beautiful lime juice all over that rice. That's going to be amazing. And we're going to close that bad boy up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our tacos. So if you notice inside the pot, remember I talked about how I didn't have enough oil or enough grease in there while I was cooking on the stove. It's the fault of not using the oven or the Dutch oven. So I had to push everything aside so I could get this beautiful oil. What we're going to do is we're going to take our tortilla, put it right down on that hot flat top. Then we're going to take some of our meat. I'm going to put that on. Oh, that looks gorgeous. Smells amazing. So, a little bit of meat. And then we're going to take a little bit of cheese, a little bit of this queso fresco. Put that on there. And we're going to take a little bit of raw onion. And the secret to the best tacos ever is raw radish. Put all that on there with a little dab of cilantro. That's a little dab in my book. And then we're going to close her up. Okay? We want all those juices, all that oil that we just dipped the tortilla in, to start to fry, get a little crisp on it. So we're going to leave that sit a few seconds, maybe turn the heat up a little bit more. Don't lose that cilantro, that's good stuff. That's money in the bank right there. There. So, get a good angle on that. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. How gorgeous is that? And let's see the underside. Oh, needs more time. A little more time, a little more heat. So, while this is heating up, the cheese is melting. All the flavors are coming together. And guess we're about done. Give this a flip. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. A little crunch to this side. We're going to get a little crunch on the other side. Push this down, flatten this out. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling right now. This is amazing. So while that's cooking, I'm going to take a beer break. Alright, so this guy is done. Look at this gorgeous color. Look how beautiful that is. Alright, so that's what it's going to look like when it's done. You couldn't hear the missus. She said, Alright, so we're going to let that cool a second. No, we're not. I'm just going to dig in and burn myself because that's what I do. But this is what your finished product looks like. Oh God, I can't pick it up. It's hot. And I need a minute to myself here. This is incredible. It's worth every bit of effort I put into this. I went to, how many stores did we go to? 4 different stores to try to find those Guajillo chilies. Oh my God, it was so worth it. This is amazing. The juice is dripping out. This is amazing. So, oh, I can't even talk. I'm beside myself. So, we're going to give you a quick shot of a finished plate of the rice, the street corn off the cob, and one of these gorgeous tacos. And go make it for yourself, or don't. I don't care. But I'm gonna enjoy my dinner. Show you that quick shot, and then that'll be the last you see of me. Have a good one. All right, so this is what our finished plate looks like, guys. It looks fucking nominal. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cursed, but I did. I've been drinking since 1, and it's now 6. So, it is what it is. All right, but this is your finished product. I promise if you try these tacos, you're gonna love them as much as we do. All right, now it's time for dinner. We'll see you next time.